All right, Dad. So here we are, and we're starting our Assassin's Creed stuff. And you may actually notice that Bayek has changed a little. In fact, quite a lot. Um, yes, this is Cleopatra, and this is apparently a dress that she was actually known to wear. So, after all this time, 10 years of Assassin's Creed, a little bit more, I think, they've decided to do a true historical tour, so to speak, of whatever land they're in. In this case, of course, it's Egypt. And you can pick the character you want to go as. And so I picked Cleopatra. So Cleopatra is about to give us a tour of ancient Egypt, actually somewhere I think they're saying about 2000 BCE, somewhere in that area. I'll check as soon as we get into the game. So here we are, and we are in, and let's go ahead and take a look. We can come up here to the timeline, I think. Is that what it is? Yep, okay. So we are currently in the Old Kingdom, 2686 to 2181 BCE. There you go. How this works is that we're going to slowly work our way through all of these different eras. And what we have is these little checklists. So we can go through each one of these checkpoints and learn about major regions of Egypt. That's what it says here. Estimated time 2 minutes. We have different characters we can play. I've chosen Cleopatra, but there are others. We could play, this is Bayek's wife, Aya, and let's see, this is Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, of course. I really don't know who this guy is. He is the father of Desmond Miles. Oh, gotcha. So he's a character from a previous version of Assassin's Creed. I know her. She's the character in this game that you are playing where she is channeling herself through Bayek. But that's part of the game. It doesn't really matter. We've got Ptolemy. He's kind of a jerk. This is some little kid that you actually help rescue in the game, as well as her. This is a little kid who is in the game, and he's a merchant, and he helps you to obtain rare objects and stuff. Let's see, who do we got here? I don't know who she is. This is one of the actors that you encounter throughout the game at the various theaters, and maybe we'll stop in at one of those someday and watch him perform. She's just a random Egyptian woman, and I might play her sometime. We'll see. Let's see. This is a Egyptian nobleman. Boring. Noble woman. Ooh, even more boring. Roman soldier. We don't like them. We want to kill them. Greek nobleman. Boring. Noble woman. Not as boring, but kind of boring. Let's see what else we got here. Some Greek guy. Ptolemaic soldier. Okay, and then the rest of these are all different versions of our main character, Bayek, in different outfits, pretty much. That's, whatever. So, anyhow, we've selected... Whoop! Shoot, we got the wrong character. We're going to go back, and we're taking Cleopatra, because you know what? It's really fun to be Cleopatra. All right, so here we are in Alexandria, and we are in Alexandria circa somewhere around, what was it, about 2000 BCE. So here we go. We're starting our tour of Alexandria, and you can see quite a lot of it here. We'll start the tour.
Welcome to Alexandria. Planning of the city.
And so we follow the trail.
Alexander's plan to build his great city. began with a verse from Homer's Odyssey. There is, in front of Egypt, in the sea with many swells, an island called Pharos. Guided by these clues, Alexander the Great founded his future city at the western end of the Nile Delta.
All right, so you get the idea. And you can see there's this path that we're following. We don't have to follow it. We can actually kind of go freelance through this whole thing and just do whatever we want. But we're going to go through at least the first couple of them and listen to what that smooth talking voice has to say.
Though Alexander considered this location ideal for his great city, it presented considerable challenges. Too difficult to access during storms, the surrounding swamps threatened disease, and the limestone soil prevented the growth of healthy crops. However, due to the influence of his mentor Aristotle, Alexander the Great recognized that the true value was its strategic emplacement. Alexander knew that in controlling Pelusium to the east, Memphis to the south, and his crowning glory Alexandria to the west, he would create a triangular stronghold, allowing him to control the entire delta while giving him access to the Mediterranean.
All right, so we kind of move forward here. I think we're going to have Cleopatra walk more slowly. That running thing is not very ladylike.
The Great Walls of Alexandria had a humble beginning. Lacking chalk to outline the future city's foundations, architects were forced to use flour instead. Clouds of migrating birds swept down and ate the flour, erasing the plans. This prompted Alexander to seek guidance from the oracles, who reassured him that his future city was destined to feed a large population.
All right. Let's go over here for a second. I want to see these guys. So in this version of the game, and this is what they call an expansion pack on the game, and it is it basically is a add-on. And in this case, our add-on has no combat aspects to it. So I can't come over here and fight any of these characters. They're just going to stand around and chat with each other and do stuff. And supposedly, at least according to the ad copy that they sent to us, as we encounter people in Alexandria, which we're about to enter here in a few moments, they're going to be going about their business and just doing stuff and having fun and whatever. I think I can, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, oh, there you go. I can get my eagle. So apparently Cleopatra also has the eagle. And we can just sort of like swoop across Alexandria. And you can actually, if you remember from some of the earlier videos I did, Alexandria was a little run down by the time Cleopatra got there originally, you know, in real life. And what we're seeing here is the more original version of it, when it was new and fresh and clean and not as run down, and buildings weren't crumbling and statues weren't, you know, the paint wasn't chipping off of them. So this is what we're going to be exploring, and I have a feeling that this is going to incorporate quite a few of our little episodes of this. So, because I think this is probably way closer to what you really want to see, and we're going to have a really good look at what Egypt was like on a day-to-day basis, and where it came from, and what happened with it.
Excavations led by Mahmud Bey el-Falaki in the 19th century revealed that the wall enclosure measured approximately 5.2 kilometers in length and 2.2 kilometers in width. It was roughly 9 meters in height.
Nine meters is actually pretty high when you think about it. Um, and as I said, we don't have to stick to the path, so we can come out, and all of these people in Alexandria are going to carry on with their business, whatever their business may be. I don't know if you remembered, but a few minutes ago when we were looking at the different characters we could play, one of them was a little kid who was a merchant I told you about, who gets us unusual items and mystical items. I can just tell by the camel here and this little couch that's hanging out here that this is actually his area, and it's where he hangs out. And apparently I almost laid down there. I don't know what that was about. So there's some connection back to the original game, but there's no combat in this game, and there's no, there's no enemies or anything. And we're going to the next thing.
These formidable ancient walls would resist a number of attacks, including fending off the king of Syria in 169 BCE. It wasn't until 295 CE that they eventually fell to Roman Emperor Diocletian, and this only after 8 months of relentless assault.
So let's just follow through here. Guess no one's taking note of the fact that Cleopatra, a future queen, many, many years from now, about 2,000 years from now, is walking through the joint. It looks like we can ride horses if we want to. Let's see if we can ride a horse. Oh, we can. Look at that.
Whoa.
I wonder if we can do this while on a horse. Yes, we can. Cool.
Alexandria's principal architect, Dinocrates, chose a Hippodamian grid plan. The grid maximized functionality, with wide, straight roads and canals running beneath them. Alexander recognized the military value of the city's design. The wide, parallel streets gave him optimal surveillance of the city, while allowing the unobstructed flow of troops.
Which oddly is the opposite of what Lafayette did with Washington, D.C., where he did narrow streets that worked into these traffic circles, which were, of course, fortified areas and prevented a direct attack on the capital.
Whoa.
A central corridor ran from the Mediterranean's north port down to Lake Mareotis to the south. This thoroughfare acted as an unobstructed link for commercial trade and travel between the two ports.
I'm thinking that's
Many
what
of
we're
the
talking
streets
about here.
were bordered with grand buildings and parks, including Canopic Street, with its impressive gate bordering the eastern end.
Okay, that's the gate I'm imagining. I don't see the park he's talking about. That's not really an impressive park there. I don't know. There must be an impressive park somewhere. That looks like it's probably the bad side of town over there. We'll go take a look at that someday. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to get off this horse and go off that bridge here in a moment.
Alexandria was most likely built upon an already existing Egyptian village. Upon its completion, the Egyptians reviled the city, refusing to call it by its founder's name. Instead, they called it Raked, the building, as a mark of disdain, which was later Hellenized into Rakotis. Despite this, the name Alexandria would remain.
Oh, so there we go. We've completed the first part of the Discovery Tour. And I think that's probably as good a place as any to stop this video. But this is what we're going to be doing, I think, unless you tell me otherwise. I believe you will probably find this far more interesting than the game itself. So we have available to us, let's go check out the map. We have, there's Alexandria. And you can see wherever you see those blue shields, that's a place we can go visit and learn more about. And, you know, we got down here in Memphis, we've got, you know, over here in the Gnomes, a lot of stuff. Let's see what else we got. We got down here, oh, Crocodipolis has something. I still love the name Crocodipolis. Crocodipolis is, like, to me, the greatest name of any place in the world, and if I were ever going to found my own city, I would name it Crocodipolis. So it looks like we get to do a little bit out in the deserts, but not a whole lot. Siwa, of course, because that's where our main character Bayek comes from. And there are, and you can see number of stations, 14, number of stations 3, number of stations 6. So that means there's 6 of those little narrator speeches. Alexandria is clearly the most represented of all of them. There's quite a lot going on there. And we have completed this first one right here. And as you can see, there are quite a few more to go. So I have a feeling we can do this for some time to come, unless you tell me you want to do otherwise. So that's it for now. And we'll leave you with a nice pose of Cleopatra because, quite frankly, she's pretty hot. So there she is with the eagle, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.